I know you are not satisfied with your life, and the life's challenges weigh so heavily upon you that no matter how hard you try, you remain trapped in sorrow. Trust me. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share a story that might transform your perspective on life forever. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear is not merely a fable. It's a guide to living with resilience, self-mastery, and inner peace. In an era that seems both distant and eternal, there existed a crow burdened by despair. Every morning, as the first light of day broke over the horizon, the crow awoke with a heavy heart, convinced that his life was a failure. Surrounded by creatures whose beauty and freedom he envied, he felt overshadowed by his own plainness and unremarkable existence. His ebony feathers, once a source of identity, had become symbols of his perceived inadequacy and isolation. One crisp morning, as the crow perched on a gnarled branch of an ancient tree, he began to cry. His tears, born of deep-seated discontent, fell one by one onto the earth below. Unbeknownst to him, fate was about to intervene. Below the tree sat a Stoic philosopher, an unassuming figure known simply as Aurelius, revered for his calm acceptance of life's inherent challenges and his unwavering focus on what truly mattered. Aurelius was immersed in quiet reflection, his eyes closed as he contemplated the nature of virtue and the impermanence of external things. In that silent moment, a single tear from the sorrowful crow drifted down and landed on Aurelius's weathered cheek. Opening his eyes, Aurelius regarded the crow with a mixture of curiosity and compassion. In a steady, measured tone, he asked, "Why do you weep, friend? What sorrow tugs at your heart so relentlessly?" Startled by the gentle inquiry, the crow hesitated before speaking in a voice trembling with despair. "Oh, wise one, I am consumed by misery. I feel unloved, unwanted, and ridiculed. Every creature seems to shine in its own way, and yet I remain cloaked in darkness. Life is a cruel jest, and I find myself wondering if death would be a kinder fate than this ceaseless misery." Aurelius listened intently, his gaze both piercing and kind. "Understand this," he said slowly. "Happiness does not arise from external validation or the fleeting admiration of others. It is not the praise of the many that grants us serenity, but the quiet strength that comes from within. Yet, before you resign yourself to despair, tell me, what is it you truly desire?" A flicker of hope stirred in the crow's eyes. "O noble teacher," he replied, "if you can help me, I long to become something greater, a swan, graceful and revered. I wish to be admired, to embody beauty and freedom." Aurelius's expression remained serene as he responded, "I can offer you a path to transformation, not by altering your feathers, but by transforming your perspective. However, before I bestow upon you any insight, you must embark on a journey to seek wisdom from those who seem to embody what you desire. Go forth and ask the swan if his life is as fulfilling as it appears. Learn his truth and return to me with your reflections." With a newfound determination mingled with lingering sorrow, the crow spread his wings and flew toward a tranquil pond where a majestic swan glided across the water. The swan, with feathers as white as untouched snow and a demeanor of quiet dignity, commanded admiration from all who beheld him. The crow approached with humility and said, "O illustrious swan, your grace and beauty are admired by many. Surely, with such splendor, your heart must be filled with joy. Tell me, is your life as perfect as it appears?" The swan regarded the crow thoughtfully before replying, "Dear friend, the admiration I receive is but a reflection of superficial beauty. While my appearance delights the eye, it does not guarantee inner contentment. I am aware of the world's vast colors and endless wonders, yet I remain confined by the expectations that others place upon me. I envy the parrot, whose vibrant hues seem to symbolize a life unburdened by such constraints. Perhaps it is the parrot who has discovered true happiness." Heartened by this revelation, the crow thanked the swan and set off in search of the parrot. His journey eventually led him to a blossoming grove, where a parrot sat among the branches, its feathers an explosion of brilliant color that danced in the sunlight. The crow bowed respectfully and said, "O radiant parrot, your vivid colors declare a life of vibrancy and freedom. Surely, you must embody the joy that I so desperately seek. Is your heart truly at peace?" The parrot paused, his eyes reflecting a mixture of delight and unease. "Friend," he replied, "my beauty is both my gift and my burden. Though my colors bring joy to others, they also mark me as a prized possession, a captive of human desire. The very adoration I receive chains me in fear, for I live in constant apprehension of being locked away, deprived of the freedom I so dearly cherish. In my heart, I often wonder if the peacock, with his majestic bearing, might hold the key to true liberation. Fueled by the parrot's candid confession, the crow continued his quest until he reached an imposing enclosure, a zoo where a peacock resided. Despite his magnificent display of iridescent feathers, the peacock was confined within a gilded cage, his splendor on display for the amusement of onlookers. Gathering his courage, the crow approached him and asked, "O noble peacock, your beauty draws countless admirers. Tell me, with such admiration, are you truly free and happy?" The peacock's eyes, full of a quiet sorrow, met the crow's gaze. "I once believed that my beauty was a gift that would grant me happiness. Yet as time passed, I learned that beauty can be a double-edged sword. My splendor has entrapped me in a prison of expectations and ownership. I have been reduced to a spectacle, my true self lost behind the facade of ornamentation. As I watch you soar freely, dear crow, I realize that freedom is not found in the external trappings of beauty, but in the acceptance of one's nature and the pursuit of inner virtue." The peacock's words struck the crow deeply, as if a veil had been lifted from his eyes. In that moment, the crow began to understand the essence of Aurelius's teachings. He realized that his sorrow was born not from his physical form, but from the futile desire to be something he was not. His dark feathers, which he had long deemed a curse, were in fact a symbol of the unique freedom that no gilded cage could ever contain. With his heart now stirred by newfound understanding, the crow returned to the Stoic philosopher under the ancient tree. The weight of comparison had begun to lift, replaced by a quiet acceptance of his true nature. Standing before Aurelius, the crow spoke with a clarity he had never known before. "O wise one, I have journeyed far and wide. I sought the happiness I believed lay in transformation, only to find that each creature, be it swan, parrot, or peacock, carries its own burdens and struggles. I now see that my desire to become something else was misguided. I am a crow, and in my simplicity lies a freedom and strength that no transformation can replicate." Aurelius regarded the crow with the steady calm of one who had witnessed many storms of the soul. "Indeed," he said, "the pursuit of happiness often leads us to compare ourselves with others, blinding us to the virtues we already possess. You have learned that the admiration you seek is ephemeral when it depends on the fleeting approval of others. True contentment is found not in the external embellishments of life, but in the quiet cultivation of inner virtue." The Stoics teach us that it is not events themselves, but our judgments about them, that disturb our souls. You, dear crow, have freed yourself from the tyranny of comparison. Aurelius continued, his voice resonating with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Imagine life as a journey along a rugged path. At every twist and turn you encounter obstacles, storms that darken the skies and winds that threaten to knock you down. Yet, it is not the storm that defines you, but how you respond to it. When you accept that there are things beyond your control and focus on the realm of your own actions and responses, you begin to reclaim your power. You begin to see that every trial is an opportunity to practice virtue, courage, temperance, wisdom, and justice, and that the real treasure lies in mastering your own mind. As the crow listened, his heart filled with gratitude and a profound sense of relief. The relentless pursuit of an ideal, dictated by society's ever-changing standards, had blinded him to the beauty of his own existence. In the teachings of Aurelius, he found a clear path to inner peace, a life where freedom is not measured by the colors of one's feathers or the admiration of others, but by the strength of one's character and the serenity of one's spirit. "Dear crow," Aurelius said gently, "remember that life is not a contest of beauty or status. It is a journey of self-discovery, where every moment offers a lesson in resilience and acceptance. In our quest for validation, we often lose sight of the simple truth that we already possess everything necessary for a meaningful life. Instead of striving to become something else, nurture the virtues within you. Let the trials of life shape you, but do not let them define you. As Epictetus wisely taught, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In that moment of clarity, the crow realized that his former self, filled with envy and despair, had been imprisoned by his own perceptions. The journey had taught him that every creature, no matter how admired, faced its own inner battles. The swan with his unfulfilled longing, the parrot whose beauty was both blessing and burden, and the peacock, trapped by the very admiration that once seemed enviable, all had fallen prey to the temptation of external validation. But the crow, in accepting his true nature, discovered a freedom that no cage could ever hold. From that day forward, the crow soared through the skies with a renewed sense of purpose. His ebony feathers, once seen as a mark of sorrow, became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that true happiness is not granted by the world, but cultivated from within. Each beat of his wings echoed the timeless Stoic truth that the only true power lies in our ability to choose our response to the world around us. In the quiet solitude of twilight, as the crow rested on a high branch and gazed at the vast expanse of the heavens, he pondered Aurelius's words. He understood now that life was not a series of external conquests, but an inward journey towards wisdom and self-mastery. Every moment of discontent was an invitation to practice virtue. Every challenge, a chance to affirm his freedom from the opinions and expectations of others. As you listen to this story, reflect on your own life. How often have you measured your worth against the fleeting standards of beauty, success, or validation? In a world obsessed with external appearances, the crow's journey invites you to pause and reconsider. True fulfillment is not found in the admiration of others, but in the quiet strength that comes from embracing your own nature, flaws, darkness, and all. Consider this. What if the key to happiness lies not in changing yourself to fit an ideal, but in accepting yourself as you are? What if, instead of yearning for what you perceive as lacking, you focused on cultivating the virtues that reside within you: resilience, courage, wisdom, and justice? These are the treasures that no external force can take away, the riches that a Stoic heart can hold dear. Before you go, remember the words of Aurelius and the lessons of the crow. It is not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Free yourself from the tyranny of comparison and embrace the journey of self-discovery. Every creature you see, every moment of your life, carries within it the potential for profound transformation. Like the crow, you have the power to rise above despair, to break free from the shackles of external expectations, and to find a happiness that is truly your own. So, as you continue along your own path, ask yourself, what does true freedom mean to me? How can I practice virtue in the face of life's inevitable storms? These questions are the beginning of a journey towards a life where contentment is not measured by the colors of your feathers or the accolades of the world, but by the strength and serenity of your inner soul. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of wisdom and self-discovery. Before you leave, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you never miss out on more empowering content.